The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello everyone, my name is Julian Schaefer and I'm the Marketing Coordinator for SWK Technologies. I'd like to welcome you to our webinar, Data Analysis and Reporting Made Easy for Sage Users, presented by Olivia Brown and Nima Massey of Nectari. A little housekeeping before we get started. Everyone has been placed on mute to keep the background noise down. However, you can submit any questions you have throughout the webinar. To submit a question, look for the questions section in your GoToWebinar. We will answer all questions at the end of the presentation. We are recording this presentation and it will be distributed tomorrow to all attendees as well as to those who registered but were not able to attend. Please take a moment at the end of the presentation to answer our one survey question. With that said, we appreciate you taking time out of your busy day to attend our webinar. We're here to help you get the most out of your software solutions and help you find an easier way to run your business by providing you software and industry knowledge, tools, and support whenever you need it. We've invited Nectari here today because they are the industry experts on business intelligence. So whether you're here doing research for a new solution or you're just here to learn, we'd like to encourage you to ask any questions throughout the webinar. Lastly, as a quick reminder, SWK is constantly sharing important updates and software tips and tricks on our social media channels, so we encourage you to follow us on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Without further ado, I'll hand it over to Olivia.
Thanks so much, Jolene, for that intro, and thanks for having us on today. Thanks to everybody for attending. We're looking forward to taking you through Nectari Business Intelligence today on this presentation. So I will just go ahead and share my screen. I think, Jolene, could you pass it over one more time? There we go.
Yep, did it pop up?
Let me know when you can see it.
Yep, it looks great.
Awesome, thanks so much. Perfect, so let's get right into it. We're talking about data analysis and reporting today with Nectari, and hopefully we'll be able to showcase to you today how you might be able to solve some of the challenges that you're having in your organization when it comes to gathering data, analyzing it, and reporting on it. So getting started, I know Jolene kind of already gave us a little introduction, but I'll just go further to that. My name is Olivia Brown, and I'm the Director of Business Development for the Nectari product for North America. My colleague Nima is joining us as well. He's actually also a Director of Business Development for the European region, but he's filling in today as a product specialist, and he's going to be the one helping us out with an actual live product demonstration. So that's who we are. And just a very brief introduction and some facts about Nectari. So we're actually it's a solution that's been developed by our organization, which is Tangerine Software. We're based in Montreal, Canada, which today the snow is coming down on us hard. So it might be a little bit different than where you're from, but that's who we are. Nectari has actually been sold for quite some time, going even earlier than 2013, in fact. However, we've been sold globally since 2013, and since then have over 2,300 customers that are using the solution. Something that I'll just mention, and you may have heard the name before in the Sage world, but we're also referred to as Sage Enterprise Intelligence. So if you have heard Sage Enterprise Intelligence before, keep in mind that Nectari is just the original name brand of that solution. So we're talking about the same solution here. We have over 40,000 users, again, worldwide, and we are the business intelligence solution for multiple Sage ERP systems. Of course, today we're talking about Sage 100, 300, 500, X3. So if you're one of those customers, we are available for your solution. Getting a little bit more into some of the reasons why you might be considering a BI solution or a solution like Nectari. Of course, as your business is growing, you might be noticing a significant challenge when it comes to gathering all of your information together. Oftentimes, organizations today are not limited to just using one single solution, for example, an ERP solution. You may be a customer who uses a third-party application. Maybe you have a legacy system that you want to connect to. So that proves to be very challenging without an actual BI solution like Nectari. Your data is continuously growing. So being able to report off that data in a performant way to make decisions in a timely manner can actually be really challenging for some organizations. You might be having a difficult time doing things like producing financial statements as well, or really any kind of reports. Typically, the ERP offering out of the box doesn't typically offer a very easy way to get those kinds of reports out, again, in a timely and accurate way. It can also be challenging to learn new ways to actually get access to your data and use queries that will actually work with your organizational needs. So when we talk about things, if you're an organization that has multiple companies, multiple currencies, how are you pulling all of that data together? Oftentimes it's a very challenging thing to do. And really, those are the issues that Nectari is looking to solve. Getting into the actual solution itself, not only is Nectari a full business intelligence solution that provides users with an easy way to access information and report on it, but it's also a full data management solution. And we'll get into that in further slides. Some of the benefits you can obtain by using Nectari include gaining visibility and insight, empowering all of your users, collaborating securely, managing data, and achieving quick ROI. And I'll quickly touch on each of those points in the following slide, starting with gaining visibility and insight. So one of the things that I mentioned when we talk about challenges of getting all of your data together as your data volume grows and as you incorporate different platforms into your enterprise, Nectari will actually allow you to hone into those different environments and pull all of your data together so that you can get that holistic view of your entire organization. So again, the ability to access multiple different data sources and also provide good performance when reporting on large volumes of data. We deliver multiple different ways that you can utilize to actually do your data analysis and reporting. So if you're somebody who prefers something that's more web-based, logging onto a web page, being able to manipulate things in a drag and drop manner, then we have a web interface for that. However, we know that there's some Excel lovers out there. Obviously, Excel is a very powerful tool that you might be already comfortable with. You can actually use an Excel platform as well. We call it the Excel add-in to analyze and report on your data. Of course, the web interface being HTML5 is accessible from any mobile device, so you do have that mobility aspect in there as well, enabling you to access Nectari and your information anywhere, anytime. When we talk about empowering all users, one of the biggest benefits of Nectari is the fact that it is so easy to use. Again, I mentioned the web and the Excel interface. When we talk about web, it's really just a matter of kind of dragging and dropping things around. So when it comes to creating reports, maybe making changes to existing reports, you actually don't have to rely on your IT department to make those changes that you need, which obviously helps you save time when you're able to do it on your own. So whether you're more of an end user, more of a power user, Nectari really enables any kind of user type to use the solution and get access to the information that you might need. Managing data. Again, I spoke about the many data challenges when it comes to increasing volumes, multiple different systems. Well, Nectari actually delivers a full data management module that actually enables you to get a better handle on your data, whether it's coming from multiple different systems, whether you want to move your data from one place to another, consolidate your data, have multiple different systems actually speak the same language, cleanse your data. So everything when it comes to the data side of things is what the data management tool of Nectari will help facilitate. And I'll get into each point very briefly, starting with the synchronization. So if you're an organization who has multiple different systems that are sitting in different places, so if you have a system like Salesforce sitting in the cloud and you have your Sage 100 environment on premise, what the synchronization will allow you to do is actually pull in all of that data from the cloud and on premise and enable you to analyze and report on that data from a Nectari data warehouse. So bring that data together for analysis and reporting purposes in a really easy way. The consolidation is another important piece, especially for the Sage 100 customers out there. Something that I often hear as a challenge for Sage 100 customers is to be able to get a consolidated view of your multiple companies or your multiple databases that are housed within Sage 100. Of course, this can apply to Sage 300, 500 as well, and the other ERPs, but I know this is something that's specific and a challenge for Sage 100 customers today. So Nectari will actually provide the consolidated environment for you from day one. So you can actually report on company one, company two separate, and have the consolidated environment available to you as well. The third component I want to talk about is the migration, and this might not necessarily be applicable to you, seeing as you're on an ERP already, but if you are planning on moving from Sage 100 to a Sage X3 as an example, or from whichever legacy system to a new system, the migration tool provided with Nectari will enable you to move your legacy data into the new system in a very easy way. I won't get more into it than that. The last piece I just did want to mention was something we call the transformation or cleansing of your data. So if you are an organization that is either moving from one system to another or would like to consolidate multiple systems where you don't necessarily have the same nomenclature or the same GL accounts in each system, the transformation tool in Nectari will clean up your data and allow you to have a very accurate view of that cleansed data. So really kind of a coherent picture of that information. Last but not least, I want to talk about how you can achieve quick ROI with Nectari, and that's really through what we deliver out of the box. Starting with Nectari from day one, we deliver a multitude of different templates that come with the solution ready to use on all areas of your ERP. So whether you're a Sage 100, 300, 500, or X3 customer, we deliver reports that are ready for you to use from day one. The connections to your data source have already been done behind the scenes. Keep in mind that although we deliver all of these reports for you, Nectari is so easy to use that you can actually make changes to them on your own to achieve really your specific needs when it comes to data analysis and reporting. We have two different ways that we access information with Nectari, starting with, of course, real-time, up-to-the-minute information. Transactions are appearing as they're posted in your ERP. But we also have the option of utilizing our OLAP technology through our data cubes. The data cubes will enable excellent performance of reports for those of you who might be worried about performance issues because of large volumes of data, and it will also enable you to consolidate information from multiple different sources much more easily. The last thing I'll mention before I pass it over to my colleague Nima for the product demonstration is our universal data models. So in addition to the templates that we deliver out of the box with Nectari, we also have our universal data models, which are essentially a pre-built set of KPIs, dashboards, and reports based on different roles within the organization. Starting with finance, we also deliver sales and CRM. So for example, in the finance UDM, we deliver things like your standard financials, balance sheet, income statement, cash flow. There's a little bit of budgeting in there as well, so on and so forth. The reason we call these universal is because you can actually use these reports based on consolidated data. So you can actually use Sage 100 combined with Salesforce, and your CRM universal data model will work on that consolidated environment. So it enables you to use the connectors that we have available to run those reports based on multiple different systems that you might have in your organization. And Nima will get into this in the demo because they're very, very valuable in terms of what they provide. Again, talking about tons of KPIs, dashboards, reports, that could be super relevant. The most interesting one is definitely the financial, because it does provide you that suite of financial reports from day one. It's all web-based and ready to go, again, upon implementation. Before I pass it to Nima, just one last slide. I'm not going to read through this, but again, we're talking about how we can help you save time by overcoming those challenges that you might have accessing and reporting on information. And this is just something that a couple of things that a few of our customers have said about how Nectari has helped them save time and also give access to information to people who really need it, and how that's helped from an organizational perspective. That's all for me. I'm going to pass it over to Nima. He'll get right into the product demonstration. As Jolene said in the beginning, we'll definitely be taking time for some questions at the end. If you have questions that come to mind, I believe there's a chat box. You can just type them in, and we will get to those at the end of the presentation. Nima?
Yeah, thanks, Olivia. Can you see my screen and can you hear me okay?
Yep, all good.
Okay, perfect. Well, thanks everyone again for being here today, and Olivia for that presentation, and Jolene as well for the start. My name is Nima. I'm going to take you through the product demonstration. I'm going to show you about 30 minutes of how you navigate and use Nectari, and you don't just have to believe our word that it's easy to use. You'll actually see it in action today. Some of you may already be familiar with it, so I'll refer to some things that are new and the latest, and things that you may have not had in a previous version of Nectari. So before I begin, I'm actually going to log in, and this is the first step to any interface of Nectari, whether you're on your app on your mobile phone, whether you're on the Excel add-in, or you're in the web browser like I am here today to start our presentation. So authentication basically means security is behind it. So as soon as I log in as admin today, what you're going to see is a bunch of data models, reports, folders, and really a list of things that we have access to called the command center. And all of this here can be limited right away for any user that logs in. So that's definitely different roles and different departments should have different access to what they can see. But ultimately, it's going to be very transparent. And for example, this is an out-of-the-box template where we have our universal data models. So there's finance, sales, upcoming soon, the inventory and stock one, customer relationship management. Then we have our actual out-of-the-box templates for Sage 100, 300, 500, and X3. So you have an abundance of out-of-the-box reports, data models connected, optimized, and available from day one. And if it's not exactly the look and feel you want, it's very easy with drag and drop to change things around. So first thing what I'll do, I'll just open up one little report here. And this view is just going to be a worksheet grid. Okay, and what you have first and foremost is a selection page. So do I want to filter based on anything before I load my data from my Sage solution or my other solution, because you can connect to other parties as well. So yes, I want to filter. I'll put a date. I'll put a between date. I'll do anything that I really want. It's pretty straightforward and easy to use. And if for whatever reason you don't remember your customer code or customer ID, you just click the little prompt button that are everywhere throughout Nectari to make it easier for you to find your exact, customer code. So we're looking for, I don't know, I know it's the word Cisco. Oh, okay, it tells me I have two GB006 and NA006. One is in Great Britain, one is in North America. So you just click confirm, Nectari will add that to your filter, and then you start your report. But just for the purpose of this demo, we're going to start without any filters. That's one way of filtering. There's more ways to do it. What I'm going to do now is actually hide the panel to the left for a second and show you that you can maximize your screen for your data analysis requirements. So what you see here is a simple report, which is grouped by year, then invoice number, and then customer code. And I have about half a dozen to 8 columns of information, such as your margins, your costs, your amount. Remember, we're an invoice analysis, but we can open up a financial report and basically do the same type of analysis. The concept is that you can just drill down as an end user. And when you drill down, you'll see all the document numbers and transaction numbers. Maybe it's better to move this around. Maybe we want something to be, I want to drill down in the year 2018 and then see all my customers. So now when we drill down to 2018, I see all the customers that have at least one invoice in my ERP system or my whatever solution you're using to connect. So then you can see exactly what is the quantity amount sold for this A005 customer and so on and so forth. And let's go ahead and filter for a few of these. So filtering, again, like I said, there's so many ways to do it. My accounts are NA001, 004, and 006. I select the 3 by holding Control and I say Add to Filter. So now it tells me, okay, Nima, you're looking at your 3 customers, so now there's only data or only invoices in 2017 or 18. When you expand that, you'll see I'm not seeing other customers. I've really narrowed it down for my analysis. And then if I drill down to Cisco Supply, for example, I'll see all the invoice numbers that were applied in that specific year. What if I want to add an extra element? Well, it's very easy. You have this neat little panel to the right. And in here, you have a ton of customization, options, dimensions, measures. Really, it's where you're going to be living if you want to just change things around on the fly or even make permanent changes. So other than the worksheet properties where you can change the colors, the lines, horizontal, you can pivot things, you could do all kinds of stuff. What we're going to do first, we're going to start with dimensions and measures. These are the reason we say out-of-the-box templates delivered are important, because we actually have everything already connected. So if you're looking for one of your dimensions, such as I want a time element or quarter element, I can simply drag and drop the month right after the year. So now what happens is that when I drill down, or it's already drilling down, excuse me, when I drill down to 2018, it'll have the information for all three of those customers consolidated for month one. And I could see what months I'm doing well and what months I'm doing poorly. And margin is usually a good indicator of that. So yes, you can add as many information as you want. You want to do it by site, by company, by sales rep. If you want to do it by the invoice type, credit memos, and real, and this is all just a sales example because we're starting here with the invoice analysis. But again, keep in mind, you can go to finance. You'll have the exact same navigation and ability to customize and change and get the information out of your system. So now, what if I want to add some column formatting? I mean, we just want to show how easy it is to use. You just right click on the column like margin percentage, and you simply say, look, anything that's less than 40%, for me, that's not acceptable. Okay, we're being really tough here. We need really high margins. We'll make the font red and we'll put a little icon. It's very simple, but actually this window could get pretty advanced. You can do formatting based on scheduled dates. If anything is running late, it will turn red. If a credit limit of a customer has been attained, you want to put that in red, you could do that. Then when you have the margins here in red, you can also consider, what if I pivot my data? So I put the year as a pivot. And now you can see I'm comparing year to year. So, okay, we had very poor margins in month 5 of 2017 and also in month 6, but it was a little bit better. What does that tell us? Maybe it's something seasonal, maybe in May, or maybe this is a fiscal month, but regardless, it could be that it's an indicator, well, something might be wrong in that specific month, just to give you an indicator. Or if you want the variance between the two, you can have calculated columns. I'm not going to create those on the fly, but calculated pivot columns or calculated columns. This minus this, I want it to highlight in red. It's really the variances that are important, which brings us to more KPIs and more indicators for your business. And a lot of those are delivered out of the box. And I actually, before going any further, I want to just remind everyone, we actually have a website you can visit just to learn more about the KPIs. It's we'll share it in the link, but basically it's called Universal Data Models, finance, sales, CRM, inventory. And in here, you will see every KPI delivered, how it's been calculated, and what can you simply drag and drop for these particular UDMs. Going back here, what I want to also mention is how easy it is to use to maybe change this into a different layout. What I mean by that is that what if I want to look at this data visually? Well, Nectari has over 100 different types of views. So we've started with the worksheet. This is the most common starting point when you're starting to build something. But maybe at the end of the day, you're going to build a dashboard. It's something that Nectari excels very, very well, and it has high performance for their dashboard. Basically, you have bar graphs, line graphs, pie charts, all kinds, over 100 different types. Even graphics such as maps. If you want to have Google Maps engine and literally put the customer at the corner of the street, you can have their address into the system and it'll find it on a Google Maps. It'll be really great for some analysis and also know where, maybe where we can be more efficient and whatnot. Maybe it's about inventory, maybe it's about sales, maybe it's about where is our customer base for campaigns and whatnot. And you also have vector maps. So if you just want to look at the data by state or by country, if you want to go at a higher level. The point is that we have vector maps that are very easy to connect, and this will require your zip codes. Other types of graphics are way more advanced, but you have a bunch to play with. What's interesting is that you have bar graphs, and it's not just simple bar graphs. You also have bullet graphs. An example of a bullet graph will be, and we'll show it in a few moments, but it's really if you're comparing this year to last year and you want the line to be last year and the bar to be actuals for this year. So it's very, very visually easy to identify how we're doing, or a budget versus actual forecast versus actual. It's a really great kind of option. What happens if I change this to a bar graph? So we'll change it to a vertical bar graph. Nectari doesn't ask any additional questions. It understands what you want to see. And what you want to see is year, grouped by year, then by month, then customer and document number. Okay? What is it showing? It's showing you your quantity sold, your ledger amount, your cost, and your margin percentage. For this particular case, we're not going to make another axis, so we're just going to show costs. Now you see these three bars are for 2017 and the ones on the right are for 2018. If I drill down, it'll show me now the split by month. And I could put this on 2 pages. I can drill down further. It'll show me for month 1. Again, up here it says it. Year 2017, month 1. Oh, we did so much better for NA001 as far as currency amount invoiced as opposed to NA004, but they had very little cost. So very, very quickly and visually we can see things. We could drill up, drill down, and ultimately at any given time, whatever change you make, you can just do save as if you don't want to override the existing report. I'm not going to bore you with all the properties, but you can actually customize this quite a lot. The access, the labels, the colors, the themes, the legend, whatever you need to do, it's very straightforward. And actually, what I'm going to point to now is we also have a website for that, and it's actually our online help. So our online help is extremely diverse in the information that it gives you. So for example, if I want to learn how to do a pivot, like we just did earlier in the presentation, I'll just type the word pivot, and here it'll show me, okay, Nectari pivot table, you want to do a pivot in the worksheet. So you just click here and literally step by step, here's what you do. You drag the year down to the pivot. Here's the notes you should be looking for. Oh, by the way, don't forget, it's going to double pivot if you put the month there, so year and then month, and so on and so forth, and a ton of interesting information all throughout this online help. So very important for end users to be able to find their way around and have a simple experience when working with Nectari. Now, just looking at the time here. Okay, so one of the key things about Nectari, obviously the filtering is great and all, and all this is secure. So if a user is not supposed to see NA001's data, I won't see it because I logged in with my user. So all that is being handled. But one thing that's really key is not having to need an IT person to share this report or subscribe to a report. So what you do here is that I can actually go ahead and export any report that I want to PDF, Excel, HTML, PNG, depending on what kind of platform I'm going to share it after with my colleagues. And then, if I go further here with sharing, you're going to see also email directly from here, send comments, allows you to highlight something, draw on it before sending it. So whatever something doesn't look right. And then you also have here the last sharing option, which is really, I want to subscribe to this. This is my 3 customers. So Nima's daily sales report. It could be a graph report. And then I can export it, email it, or save it on the network somewhere. I can have other recipients get it. Okay, I want to CC Olivia, for example. And then I also want to send the subject and the description, which is what's really cool about Nectari. It's really an international software. So there's these neat little translate buttons everywhere. If I want to put English and French, the same report, my colleagues will receive it in French as long as I put the translation. And then I just schedule it. How often do I want to receive this? Is this daily? Yeah, every day, every second day. Is it at 9 a.m. in the morning? Yeah, sure, we can actually easily do that. And I've never had advanced features or anything or IT helping me. Every second Wednesday before our meeting, no problem. And that's how that works. Ultimately, it's a very, very easy to use BI solution. I've shown you the web interface, but everything I've shown you here, all the views, all the dashboards you're about to see will automatically work in the mobile interface as well. A couple of cool advanced features I just want to show, and I'm going to go a little fast here. one of the things that you don't see typically in a standard BI is actually being able to put, if you have a lot of SKUs or company vendors that you deal with and whatnot, you may want to load their image into the screen. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to drill down here, and you're going to see this special column called image allows me to hover over and see exactly the product that I'm referring to, because we don't all remember our exact codes and our descriptions, although that's plenty helpful, but the image can also take it a bit further. The other really nice thing is you can actually put hyperlinks, directly link Nectari to your other solutions. If it's a web-based solution, I have the example of Sage X3 here. As soon as I click on this particular link, it'll go ahead and open up Sage X3 with the SEI, with Nectari, excuse me, embedded directly in the screen, filtering for that product. So all that will work. You can also have, other solutions like SharePoint, MS Teams, everyone's using now. You can have these interactions with quite a lot of different solutions, as long as it's web-based and you can benefit from it. And even though I'm in an ERP system here, known as Sage X3, some of you don't use this particular product of Sage, but if it's a web-based solution, you'll see that it's a fully dynamic dashboard living inside of another solution. I just maximize the screen, and here's an example of one of the dashboards where if I want to filter on Florida, this data will be filtered on Florida. If I didn't get kicked out, no, I didn't. Perfect. And now we're actually just looking at Florida. If I want to look at 9 months of data, I'll just select all these, or 10 months. I'll click apply, and it'll apply it across the screen. Again, it's just about how easy it is to use these dashboards, which come out of the box, and you can customize as much as you want. And it's also a matter of just looking at this information very visually. And remember, the data that I am seeing here in the middle of the screen could be coming from a third-party solution, not necessarily just showing from your ERP, your Sage ERP. So it's having your information at your fingertips while you do data entry and other processes that you do daily. And as an example, we were just showing the line graph here. So this is a typical example of last year versus this year, where the red bar is, did we achieve last year's amount? No, not quite yet for any of them, except for this graphic adapter, which has surpassed last year's sales. So just a quick idea of that. It goes even further. You can actually go to inside each menu and embed it. So I'm going to show you one quick example. Oh, sorry, I did figure I got disconnected. All right. So we internally here use Nectari inside our MS Teams. We use it for our support channel. We use it for quite a lot of things, actually. And we recommend our customers do the same, is really expand the use and envision it to be part of your everyday process. So here I am going into a product, a specific product screen. For those of you who know Sage X3, you know that this is a native screen of Sage. But if you want, you can also say all the way to supplier, you have your native tabs, and then you also have what we call inventory valuation. Well, wait a minute, hold on, there is no such tab. But actually now there is, because we added Nectari. So Nectari is actually just going to pull the inventory valuation for that bike that we just saw. The bike is known as FIN004, and it's filtering this view for FIN004. So I'm still drilling down. I have all the capabilities as sharing, subscribe, everything, full functionality directly living inside of the screen here. And we'll take more questions. We'll take questions at the end for sure, because I know I'm going and I'm showing a lot of information. If I go back here, back to Nectari, it's all the same here. If I go ahead and open up one of my dashboards, let's say, for example, a profit and loss dashboard for finance. Again, you'll see there's some role-based dashboards like a CFO, cash management, or if it's someone who's looking at the actual versus budgets. And you'll see the dashboard can be comprised of several types of views, like a graphical view, which has multiple layers to it. We have gauges here in the middle, and then we have here on the right side kind of an income statement or a shortened income statement to give you a very high-level summary. So you can see your sales accounts, your costs, your expenses, and that's a high level. And you could drill down even though you're in a dashboard. And again, the filtering panel at the top allows you to easily switch through any sort of data, year, period, currency. This is a key here as well. Currency being so important for some of you if you have transactions in other types of currencies. you can actually have all the data shown in Canadian, US, euros, and so on and so forth. And it's all actually managed within Nectari itself. The ledger, the chart of accounts, the dimensions, we all have analytical dimensions. I don't have them set up, excuse me, but you'll have these dimensions that you group your accounts accordingly. One of the things I want to mention also is that when you see all these reports and different types of things, it's not just subscribing and emailing yourself one report at a time. We can actually do reporting packs. And reporting packs, I'll just show you a finished example of a reporting pack right here. So here's a financial reporting pack. I didn't make it pretty or anything. I just really quickly did a title with a logo. We did as of. We can have that as a variable. And this could be automatically scheduled to be sent every quarter. So it'll have its own table of contents if you wish. And then you'll see Nectari reports like the balance sheet all the way to the cash flow. So I can make this a bit bigger. We'll have a cash flow account. Here, and then we could go here and show a dashboard here, and this will be a static version of the dashboard, but you can schedule it to share as often as you want, and it's good to do this, you know, every once in a while to make sure that everything is, you know, working properly. So this is just one quick example of a reporting pack, and you could send it to any stakeholder that needs to see that reporting pack. Going further, with financials, one of the things that is actually very new here, that's why I wanted to show you. The reporting pack is fairly new, but the other thing that's new is the reporting tree. What is a reporting tree? Well, maybe you've seen it in other solutions, but it's actually an extremely useful way of predefining your filters and having in an instant information about site one, company one, consolidated USA, consolidated North America, and so on and so forth. You define any type of hierarchy that you wish, and your financials will be represented as you select it. What I mean by that, this is a report designer report, similar to the worksheet that we saw at the beginning of the presentation. But the nice thing is that I actually have different sections. So you don't see it right now, but if I just click edit report, you see that I have a section here for sales. Then I have a total sales, just a title, subtitles. Then I have a subtotal of just sales. Then I have cost title, cost of goods, and the total gross profit. And you can add as many sections as you want. This is a neat little way, should you decide not to use Excel, to also make your financial reports. You still have the drill down capabilities down to the most granular level of detail. And what I mean by that is that exactly how it was entered in your Sage system or your third-party data source, you will see that level of detail of information as you drill down into the data. So mistakes will be caught really quickly, especially during implementation. We often, even during the training, people are like, hey, why is that negative so-and-so? And then they're like, oh, you know, somebody who used to work here entered it incorrectly, and then you start to fix things and validate things. So it's pretty cool how granular the detail gets when you drill down with Nectari. It's a key benefit as well. Going back to the reporting tree, sorry for getting off topic, we have this neat little button here. The reporting tree, I've actually designed it. You can design your own. It's very, very simple. So as you can see here, I have several regions. I have Europe, North America 10, and North America 20. This is my operation. So if I want to just look at North America 10, I could just click here, North America 10, and look at these values change on the left-hand side. So now I have North America 10 in my naming is called, in my demo, it's called North America 10. In yours, it'll be called Site A, B, C. And you have for 2018 fiscal period 1. These are the values. Then if I want to do, oh, no, I want all of North America together. And you simply click, and in a matter of a second, you suddenly have that report. So this reporting tree, it's not really complicated, but you can go here in the reporting tree on the admin side of Nectari. So more of a super user or someone a bit more who defines this, but you might just define it one time. Really, it's based on your structure. And you just click manage, and you can see here, well, at the highest level, we have everything consolidated. And then I wanted to have a folder called Europe, and then I wanted the France, and then I wanted France 11 to be filtered on any data that comes from FR011. And any, you know, so from the site FR011. You can set this up, you can make multiple reporting packs and add them and use them as you wish. So making financial life a lot easier. Just looking over at what else we can cover here, because we still have about 5-10 minutes, if I'm not, yeah. All right, so what I'm going to cover next is I'm going to go ahead and show you the power of the universal data models. Again, it's not to be taken lightly because it comes with so much more than just reports. And I'll give you an example. So for example, here for financials, or excuse me, I should go for AR, AP. So for an accounts receivable or an accounts payable, we have the AR, AP reporting, which some ERPs have it built in. But what they don't have is a historical AR, AP, or in our next UDM inventory, stock, historical stock valuation, and so on and so forth. So what you're going to do is you're going to open up what is called historical, or really just search for the word historical in the command center. It'll just narrow it down for you. And then you can actually open it up here. Historical, whoops. Just go back. There you go. Okay, it doesn't say historical in the name of the view. That's why I couldn't find it. So then you say, okay, what was the AR exactly on this date in 2018 on the 21st of January? And now what it does, Nectari immediately goes and makes that for you and tells you at that moment in time, this is what your AR looked like by currency. And we're going to filter on US. Simple as that. And then we can even remove the transaction currency as a group just by simply clicking X up there. Then we'll see by company code. So I have 3 different USDs and some are in Australia, funny enough. And I could then see exactly who was the sales rep related to the account, who had the most amount owing. So amount due 463,000, and I can ask that, maybe it's an account manager, not a sales rep, that can then check, well, you know, you have how many over 90 days owing to have this much owing in total. So this is a really cool thing to have a historical report. That's kind of advanced. You also have ability to create budgets and forecasts. So if I go to a sales area here, you go to forecast data entry. And one thing that's really cool is that you can literally type in each one of these cells. Like right now it's not enabled because it's just a report, but a special report like the, I believe it's this one. Oh no, I believe it was the other one. Excuse me. Let me cancel out of this. Validated forecast. You can again filter if you want. And one thing you'll notice is that Nectari will make any column that's editable or modifiable, for a lack of better terms, it'll make it identified by a purple column header. Now, what's happening is that it's saying, okay, username, no problem. We don't need that. We're logged in as admin. Forecast of 2019, revision number 1, because you can have multiple revisions. We don't in this particular case. I have customer IDs listed, and then I have the product ID. So what I'll do here is I'll go ahead and look. Let's go find our Cisco supply. All right, Cisco Supply is selling these products, the jalapeno dip and so on and so forth. It has about $400,000 expected, or $279,000 expected in the current month, and in the next month, because it's a rolling 12-month forecast, it says it's $279. I can actually see exactly how that $279 comes about by which product. Say suddenly we know that there's going to be a lot more jalapeno dips sold. It's going to double, so that 8,000 is going to go to 16,000. Oops, it's this one we were working on. That 8,000 is going to go to 16,000. And notice the 279 at the Cisco Supply level. It's a higher grouping level. As soon as I press enter, that turns to 286. And now I just changed one specific product's forecast up and affected everything. My entire forecast for the year of 2019 month period 1 is now changed by $8,000. And this is being saved. And why we have it in validated, to be validated, working on, is because some users will enter the forecast, other users will validate and approve or reject the forecast. So we have all that built in. It's not a forecasting tool, but Nectari is just so advanced and gives you so many little things that come extra with the UDMs in particular and so on and so forth, that we like to show this as well. Same thing with currency conversion. If I go back to finance, all of this can be handled. If I go here, currency conversion, if you don't have a place where you maintain currency and you want to manually do it, this is a place you can do it in Nectari. You'll see Canadian to US, and we'll change it from the rates just here simply. You can import other currencies for other dates, 2021 and so on and so forth, and you'll get the conversion as well. The average and the closing currencies are there. You can add, I think there's another column you can add as well. So tons of neat little things, and that's why I encourage you to go to visit our UDM website, udm.nectari.com. I encourage you to visit even nectari.com, but also the help online, so online help.nectari.com. Before I finish up, I'm going to show you one more thing, which is our Excel add-in. Then I'll pass it back to Olivia. So for the Excel add-in, and really we could do a whole 1 hour on Excel add-in because it's so powerful, dynamic, and used by customers alike from all different Sage products. What happens is that, like I said, the first thing you'll be asked is to log in, because nothing goes through with Nectari. And excuse me here if it says Sage Enterprise Intelligence, that's the branding outside of Nectari, but it's the same solution. And basically what happens here is that you need to actually identify yourself so as to only see the data that's relevant to your decision making. I don't want to suddenly see Olivia's stats and then make a decision for my region or do something in my area where I'm supposed to make decisions only on my information. So security, as soon as you log in, kicks in, and it shows you your data. You only have access to your buttons that you're allowed to use, and your reports will be limited or not, depending on your rights, to see what you can. And the Excel add-in is very flexible. Every single cell of an Excel worksheet can be pulling data from a different data model or even a different data source. So sorry, it's taking a few seconds. Just give me a few more seconds here. I have a lot going open. Oh, there you go. It's going to load now. Basically, it's really good. So when you want to, first you can end up using graphs on top of the data that's been loaded. But basically what Nectari is doing, it's allowing you to populate cells with real-time data from your systems. So these are not just numbers that are loaded once. These are real-time. These are live. And you could see that because it's a Nec access formula. That's a Nectari formula. And as soon as we change this value for month 9, if I change it to 2021 month, 7, that 2.452 million for sales revenue for the current month is going to switch, and it's going to load here at the bottom here. And I'm sorry because I'm VPN to the office. And there you go, 2.2336. So that's how this is all being calculated. It's been filtered to have only sales accounts. This one is only showing you cost accounts. And then you also have last year's amounts. You have KPIs if you want to make it formatting. You can pull up a trial balance. You can pull up a balance sheet. And then you can also have different layouts. Like if I want a cash flow statement, I'll just click cash flow. It'll change it to a cash flow statement, and so on and so forth. And then I can also have a sales report and say, okay, we're only interested to look at North America company. And this pivot table is also real time as well. So it'll only show you North America data. You see, only the country billed to is United States of America. And then I only have 4 sales reps, not the rest. Again, it's because my demo environment is an international data source. If I go ahead and select Harry, John, and I'll only see data for Harry and John. This is all coming from your ERP. It's all set up. As long as you have a Nectari viewer user or even a full user, you'll be able to see everything. And I will leave here on the screen just to give you an idea of what comes for Sage 100 as an example. Again, the universal data models, everything I basically showed in the demo today is available for Sage 100. Okay, so nothing wasn't. It's just that my environment that I was showing you was with some X3 for more data reasons. And now here you can see for Sage 100, you have all these different out-of-the-box available. So general ledger, balance, items, inventory management, material requirement planning, purchase orders, return analysis, and job costing, and things like that. So we have a ton of out of the box specifically for 100, and it comes consolidated. So if you have multi-installations, no worries, all the data can be consolidated or separated at any given time. So on that note, I think I'm going to pass it back to Olivia. We want to leave some time for questions.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Nima. Just want to make sure you can hear me.
Yep.
Cool. Perfect. So I think we're going to leave the last 10 minutes or so open for some questions. Jolene, I don't know if any questions were typed into the chat box that we can review, or if we want to open the lines for any questions that the attendees have today.
Yep, thank you, Olivia. We'll now open it up for questions. If you have any questions, please enter them into the questions section of your GoToWebinar. And we did have a few that came in during the presentation. And just a reminder, Nima, please let me know if you'd like me to pass the presentation over to you if they're looking to see anything solution specific.
Okay, will do.
Thank you. And the first question is the Nectari data warehouse in the cloud, or is there an on-premise option?
You actually have.
Yeah, go ahead, Liv.
No, sorry, Nima. I was just going to say that you have both options. Nectari can be installed on-premise. It can also be installed the cloud-based version, which can be multi-tenant or single-tenant.
Yeah, and to add to that, I think the reason you're asking for a data warehouse, if it could be on-premise, well, maybe because it's a very large data warehouse you're going to build, it's possible you prefer to have it on-prem. Yes, it's very possible. And one thing we didn't demo, but we spoke about in the slides, is the data sync. That is the role that it plays. It can pull data from anywhere to anywhere, and Nectari can read it from your on-prem data warehouse.
Great. We have another. Please confirm that the tool works with Sage 100's native ProvideX database and would not require the SQL version of Sage 100.
Absolutely. And again, as Nima just kind of alluded to with the data sync, that's what enables us to connect, make that connection to ProvideX. So we actually have customers running both SQL and ProvideX for Sage 100. So no problem there.
We have another. One issue we experience with Sage 100 is that we are unable to link data from different modules in Business Insights in order to create relevant reporting. For example, we are unable to link fields from the AP module to those in the GL. Are these limitations eliminated through Nectari?
I'm sorry. I was looking for the ProvideX information to send it.
Okay.
Can you repeat that? Yeah, did you get it, Liv?
Yeah, definitely. So in terms of being able to build, it's basically building new processes behind the scenes. So being able to connect, like I believe the GL, and Jolene, I think you said the AP. So I think it's just a matter of being able to build a new process behind the scenes to connect those fields. And that's something that we teach during training on how to do. So you're not limited to the data connections we're giving you out of the box. You can make those as well on your own.
We have another. Do you have any data analytics specifically created for an e-commerce site?
I think our sales UDM will cover quite a lot of that. So I encourage you to check out that website, udm.nectari.com, and go to the sales tab, and you'll see all the KPIs that come with it. There's even a matrix at the bottom, which tells you like, okay, how much was ordered this year, last year, this month, last year, growth over, year-to-year growth, and then the rolling 3 months, and then there's more, and there's more analysis that you can do. I think, I don't know exactly what an e-commerce KPI would be, but a lot is covered in this.
So for example, we do have some connectors. We can connect with the web API to here in Canada, we have Shopify, comparable to, I guess, I'm not sure what e-commerce systems you guys use, but we can definitely set up those connections, and even the reports, if they're not exactly the way you want them to be, we can definitely, you can customize those.
Good point. The web API is probably a very common connector, and then you import it in the skeleton, which is the universal data model for sales. And that's a good starting point, and it's pretty quick to get that up and running. And then if you want to customize and get other KPIs, it's easy to do as well.
And we have another. Can you show us what a subscribed report looks like in an email, worksheet version and graph version?
Subscribed email, also it's just an export. Hold on here, I can probably share my screen again. Okay, so I'll just take an example here. So it's actually what it's doing an export, but it's refreshing the data and then it's emailing it to you. One of the things I want to note is, let's, for example, put this away, put that there, expand. And then what it looks like really depends also on the worksheet properties. Like if I go ahead and say, okay, I want my total row here at the bottom. I want it to be in blue font. I want to have the word, total. I want this first level of grouping to be yellow, and so on and so forth. You can really customize this quite a lot. And then whatever you export, even with the KPIs, the red and the green for good margins and bad margins, will basically look like export. Oops. Sharing, export to, I'll start with Excel. Okay, it'll give you a download link. Well, right away, it'll be downloaded from your mobile device or anywhere. It will open up as such. And one thing, actually, it's interesting this is brought up. The level of drill downs are not they're not there in the export, in the emailing right now. Actually, this is something coming up in our next release this year, early this year, where you'll be able to drill down to 2017 and drill back up and hide the details. Right now, we would say require you to expand and then send it. So then, that would be, it'll keep the groupings in the future, but this is what it would look like basically. If you don't build it already in Excel, if you build it in Excel add-in, it'll stay in the format that you built it in, that you wish to see. A lot of improvements have been made on the size, page size, formatting, and all that, which is in this upcoming version that I don't have. It's in R&D's hands, where you'll be able to format a lot of the features, get it, because you want it in a PDF, I'm assuming, so you want it to be really clean and whatnot. There's a lot you can do now with headers, footers, dynamic things, and spacing, and have it over 2 pages and whatnot that I don't have right now. But at the moment, it would look like that Excel file that I just showed.
We have another. What other forecasting models are available besides the rolling 12-month?
Well, I mean, when you go to do a forecast, it's quite sophisticated in what it can, well, sophisticated, I mean, for a BI it is. It's not a forecasting replacement tool, but it can get you some forecasting. So you have to configure your forecast first and foremost. And in here, I think you decide if it's amounts or quantities that you want to forecast on. And then you can also say, okay, UDM default. I don't think it's here that I want it to go. It's you can go by quarter, by month, or by week, if that's what the question is. Those are the 3 that you can do. But when you go ahead and create a forecast, view info page. So create new setting, add new forecast. So what do I want in this forecast? Do I want a column description? What is the alias, and so on and so forth? And then you go to forecast by quarter, let's say. Generate forecast, you give it a name, a revision, amount or quantity if you want to do it, and then you send for evaluation, and then you add the lines to the reports. So there's all that you can do as well. Again, I think I would have to get a more specific question, but quarter, month, and by week is what's there right now.
And we have one more. Are the forecasts just static values that need to be updated by hand?
Well, they can be updated the way we just did. So manually you can type it in, but the interesting thing is that you can group at a high level and say, listen, our company is going to have, I don't know, a 5% increase forecasted for next year. And you just do a 5% one time, and everything gets updated proportionally to what you did last year. And then if that's not satisfactory because you have a product that's obsolete this year, or you're pushing another product more this year, then you go manually change that one. But you start your revision of a forecast with a 5% increase, a 10% increase, or decrease, depending on whatever. If it's COVID last year, it impacted all of us. So you can actually change and make a second revision and decrease it by 5%, and then say, no, but this product is essential. We're going to sell a lot. And you go into the report and you just change one cell. So You could do it manually, you could do it high level, you could do it low level. It can be done in either which way under the validated, and then it gets validated, excuse me.
Perfect. And give me 1 minute as I take back screen control.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Olivia and Nima, for your informative presentation and for taking the time to be here today. For more information on Nectari, check out our website at swktech.com and click on Nectari in the Business Intelligence section in the Products tab. Thank you everyone for attending our webinar. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you.